All right. Sorry about that. My guest is trying to connect, so she should be on shortly. Sorry about that, Devon. Yeah, that's my guest. She's trying to connect. So, hey, David. All right, the art of Brick. I see you on there. Okay, good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, wait for my illustrious guest. She'll be signed on. There you go. All right, you're in. Okay, so I'll send you a request in a second, Latonya, after I give you your fabulous introduction. But I see you on it. Hey, Siobhan, how's it going? All right, welcome on. Welcome aboard. The art of Brit. I see you on there. Welcome. Make sure you guys are following me at dejour.ashwood, and make sure that you also follow Latonya Torres. All right, make sure that you go and follow her. She's my special guest for today, and it is going to be crazy. I always bring you guys good content. The purpose of my IG lives on Wednesdays is to connect actors with the industry, and today is no exception. David, I see you. Siobhan, I see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Siobhan, I see you on it as well. Welcome, everyone. So we're gonna wrap everything up in about a minute. I'm gonna give her introduction, then I'm gonna bring her on, and y'all gonna learn a lot about her. All right, I'm definitely a fan of her. I have been chasing her for a month to try to get her on the show, so I'm glad that I was able to kind of connect with her. Hey, Paul, I see you on there. Welcome. Come on in. My guest tonight, she's an amazing actress. I'm a fan of her content. She's been on a number of shows, and a lot of my viewers on here are actors, and so I always like to just bring other actors on here every now and then, besides casting directors, and so they can get a sense of what it takes to really succeed in Hollywood. Okay, now you'll see at the bottom, if you have a question about an acting question for Toni, definitely drop it like it's hot, or casting question for Toni, definitely drop it like it's hot. She has a huge resume. Some of the credits I won't be able to get to, but I'll try my best. I am Sony. I see you on there. Yep. Taste of Adrian. Welcome, 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 welcome. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start it so that way, Shahid, good to see you on it. Definitely good to see you on it. All right, so I'm gonna start and give a little, just a little introduction of the things that she has on her resume, and then we'll talk a little bit more with her, so that way you can get an idea, a flavor of what's going on. Behind me, you're gonna see a couple of her credits as well, because I couldn't say all of them, but phenomenal, phenomenal. Okay, so not only day player roles, but she's also booked a lot of recurring roles, and we're gonna talk more about that. Triana, I see you. How you doing? All right, so my guest tonight, okay, it goes by the name of Toni Torres. All right, she's from Cleveland. She's from Ohio. Which specifically, we'll talk more about that. I'm a little bit familiar with Ohio, so I'm excited to hear about that. And then she took a leap and moved out to LA. Come on, we love that. We love that. So we're going to talk to her about that. She's known for her role as the campaign manager, Elena Morales, on Amazon's Golden Globe winning show series, Goliath. All right, I'm a fan of it. If you haven't been watching it, you got to watch it. It's with Billy Bob Thornton. Amazing job. She does a wonderful job with her character, and we're going to talk a lot about that as well. So let's get to it. Her acting credits includes, you ready for this? Grey's Anatomy, Mad Men, Criminal Minds, Lopez, and for about 3 episodes, The Art of Detective Philip, and How to Get Away with Murder. Of course, I love that show. Now, in 2007, Toni played a female soldier on ABC's hit series Brothers and Sisters. And in real life, Toni is a veteran, all right, who served as an intensive care medic in the United States Air Force, all right? So she got a couple of things, that she can go to bat with when it comes to acting, okay? Now, from 1997, she was in that to 2001. She was born, yes, in Cleveland, Ohio, okay? What y'all know about the top of the flats? Probably nothing, but she'll tell you a little more about that, all right? And she was raised in Parma, Ohio, where drug addiction was common and also affected her parents. Now, Toni, she overcame numerous of obstacles to become a successful actress in where? Hollywood, okay? So we're going to talk about that because everybody's going through some things, but it's not about what you go through, it's what you grow through. Now, she got her first big break when Oscar-winning actor Tim Robbins and cast Toni in the role of June in a military play called Embedded, which toured off-Broadway and in London and across the United States. She's also an advanced member of the Playhouse West Meisner program, and in addition, she's been a stand-up comic since 2010. So come on, she got the drama, she got the comedy. What more do you want? Okay, you can't ask for a little bit more. She's a legit actor, and I'm excited to have her on it. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Toni Torres, and you guys, I have a few questions for her, but you also can drop some questions down low, and then I'll make sure that we'll get through those. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring her in, and then we'll get this show on the road. All right, so give me 1 second. I'm definitely excited. I know you are. All right, we'll bring Toni in. All right, so here we go. Let's see. All right, so welcome.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Toni. We figured it out.
Wonderful introduction. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. And thank you for giving me your undivided attention. I truly appreciate it. And I tried to not be too stalkerish, but I wanted to get you.
No, I appreciate it. There's been other priorities with the movement.
Sure.
And that's where my mind has been. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you giving me a nudge on the career stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And definitely it's a pleasure to have you. I sent you a few questions, and usually what will happen is that some of my viewers, they will ask you some questions as well because they're excited to hear from you. I'm a fan of a lot of the shows that you've been on. And so I know I had you kept to about 4 questions, but I know I got more than that, but we'll see how this works out. So originally so you grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
I did. I grew up in Ohio.
Cool. Yeah. So I went to school in SUNY Buffalo, and I traveled out to Cleveland, Ohio. So I'm familiar with Top of the Flats and that whole area.
Yeah.
It's an amazing area. Yeah.
It is. It's also a hard place to grow up. It's not an easy. I don't think it's an easy city to grow up in.
Yeah. And and I want to talk about that because you taking, what you experienced and being able to, really be successful in acting. How was that for you? Do you put a lot of your upbringing in your acting when you're creating these roles?
Absolutely. So my parents were both drug addicts. So my neighborhood wasn't great. My upbringing wasn't great. And I think that in society a lot that is looked down on. But for me, just if you can get through that, like how can a casting director scare you? They do still scare me. But
Yeah.
person, and I'm more likely to be capable of saying, can you explain that note, or just ask for things that I need after overcoming an intense life. And I think that's much more valuable than we talk about in pop culture.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was it for you? I looked at a couple of your interviews, and it's just amazing how, you took the leap to move out to Los Angeles. What was that like for you to make that move? Was it scary? Was it exciting at the same time?
That was my first attempt to get out. So when I was 18 years old, I joined the military, and it just honestly felt like more of the same. It was a lot of patriarchal nonsense and a lot of bully mentality, and I had had enough of that. And I thought I wanted to be a doctor. I've always been one of the people who need to help.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost as if I can't enjoy happiness in my own life if I haven't done things to serve, part of my chemical makeup. So I thought I wanted to be a doctor. There was no way I was going to afford medical school in the situation that I grew up. So I joined the military, and it was not what I wanted. It was not. It was not what I expected it to be. I didn't understand what propaganda was. Learned really quickly. And I I've always I grew up Pentecostal. I'm not religious anymore. Still deeply spiritual. Can't really put words around it, but I do feel that there is a part of me that speaks to something way greater and gets information back.
Sure.
That has not led me astray yet. So kind of having one of those moments, and I was like, I'm sick of hardship. I'm sick of it. Every person of color is taught that we should constantly show up for the world, but I don't want to anymore. I want to have fun. I want to be audastic enough to want some fun and goodness in my life. So I thought my happiest moment was a church play. I remember that, that moment as an actor when you forget you exist for a second, and somehow that's the planet, which I think is really interesting. Not existing is
absolutely.
But anyways, I'm going to go and I'm going to try to do this for myself. And then if I decide to go back to school for nursing or a doctor or whatever, at least I will know I have given it my all.
Yeah.
And I came here, and 2 years later, I booked an anti-war play. And
Wow. That is amazing. That is
yeah,
amazing. And I love that. I love it. And, you know, my viewers, again, a lot of them are actors. They need to hear stuff like this because we get beat up and we get kicked and spit out all the time.
yeah,
And we get more no's than we get yeses, of
yeah.
course. And,
And
you know, when I heard, yes.
that specifically, yes, you will be beat up. There is no way around that. There is no amount of good looks or talent. Most people can't even recognize talent. They can only recognize the amount of talent that they have and the talent that they have. So you could be the next Viola Davis, and people will still miss you until you have awards, because without the awards, people don't know how to recognize. So the key, I believe, is to believe in yourself so sincerely, and those things will always tear you down, but believe in yourself so sincerely that the recovery time becomes days instead of weeks and years.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, we need definitely to hear, especially at a time like this as well. We need to hear that. That's amazing. Thank you definitely for sharing that. So for you, you know, going out there, was it ever a moment in your career where you faced where you was like, you know, after your booking and say, okay, maybe I can try something else. Maybe and come back to it. And what made you stay?
I have a ferocity that is a gift. I don't know why I get to be so resilient, but I do get to be, and I know that that's an honor and a privilege. But it's hard, and there are days where you're like, man, I can't do this, especially as a person of color. Like, you hit that 1,000th maid/prostitute audition, and you're just like, how can I continue to break away? But every time I left, if I'm really looking back on it, it was just my body needing Control-Alt-Delete. I needed to say F you. I needed to say I'm done with this. I needed to say I'm not doing this anymore, so that I could purge my body of everything I had been holding on to, so that I could come back fresh and new, fierce, instead of staying sort of like oddly artistically oppressed. And then a follow-up to that is every time I did leave, I left for an adjacent career. So I left file because I couldn't sort of break to the next level of my career, and I went to do camera assisting. So everything I was doing was teaching me how to be a better actor, right? It was teaching me what the role on film was, right? Like, I don't go on set. I can go on set and I can look at the walkie-talkies of every person on set and know what they do and what I need, and how to do them respectfully, and how to honor their place in the show. And I couldn't do that as an actor, because no one tells you that. You never learn that stuff in acting.
Sure.
They don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
And that's not true. They do want to hear from you. Sure.
Yes, yeah.
They do want to. They do. The AD doesn't want you to come to them and ask them for water. That's not their job. That's the PA's water. So knowing who to ask and how to make it short and how to be grateful for that is aces.
And you know what? I love that you're saying this, because actors, I always like to preach that we need to be the solution. When we get on the set, we need to be the solution. Absolutely. And that's something that I learned too, is that when you start to learn more about behind the camera, you become better in front of the camera.
Yeah,
and so
that's
great. Yeah. So that's good. That's good. That's a blessing.
And then I quit again to go be a writer. And again, that taught me so much about, like, understand the arc as an actor better than you can as a writer.
Yeah.
So that juxtaposition, again, less afraid of writers. I know what questions to ask now. I know what they're trying to do when I'm reading their stuff, because scripts are so cryptic, right? And so if you're going to leave, like, leave to go, you know, like, it's like, leave to go climb through the chimney. Don't leave.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Leave to find the spot under the door. Leave to find a window open. Don't act don't ever, ever, ever 100% give up on yourself. Leave one foot in the door always.
Oh my God, that's knowledge. That's knowledge. For those of you who are just popping in, I have Toni Torres on here. She has been played the campaign manager on a lot. She's been on a lot of shows, but the campaign manager, which I love, on as Elena Morales on the hit series show of Goliath. And if you haven't seen it, make sure you go check it out. All right, so I want to dive into one question that I sent you, and so you've done a lot. You've had a lot of different roles. And I want to know from you, what's the difference when you're preparing for a day player role versus a recurring role? And what is that?
That's a good question. I really had to think about that after you sent that to me. And I think what it comes down to is when you're playing a day player, especially if you only have one scene, you're trying to get everything you've got into that one scene, right? So like, let me find my arc. Let me look at the like social hierarchy of this person, right? Because that will tell me like how much I'm allowed to express, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let me try to fit as much into, what is it, 5 lines, 10 lines, whatever the day player gets, right? Let me fit much in those 10 lines that I'm socioeconomically allowed to like have. And just make it like the juiciest, steaky moment so that when I go in for my audition, no one else hit as many beats as me, right?
Mm.
But when you're doing something with 6 or 7 episodes or two seasons or whatever, then you have to space that out, and you have to have the courage in yourself to be a little bit like, some scenes are going to be basic, right? Some scenes are going to be just saying goodbye to your kids and they're not in danger, so you're just, you know, loving your kids on a regular day, and you got to be okay with throwing some moments away for the higher arc of the season. So you start with something that's happening and things build, and then you save like all the goody good for the very last scene.
Sure.
Whichever scene is the like height of that. Like if you're like for Goliath, well, no, that's not true for Goliath, but like, let's say the heat of it is in the middle, right? Like, then you need to think about recovering for the rest of your episodes.
Oh, okay.
If the heat of it is at the end, then you need to think about building up to that, right? And how each moment of conflict changes you as a person.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You told that well. I like that. I like how you differentiate. And I wish I would have asked you that before I went and had my recurring role. I knew none of that. I knew none of that. And now when you say it, it makes a lot of sense as far as saving things. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. Because I was used to always having day player roles. And so, you know, I'm giving it every episode.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah.
So that's good. All right. Well, you've had a lot of projects. So which of those projects stands out for you?
Oh, Goliath.
And why? Goliath. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, How to Get Away with Murder changed my life, but it was only 3. But I mean, it changed my life. And they were so professional. Like, it was the first show I had ever been on where they did not make the actor wait. And I was still a small part, but like, I was used to, as a day player, going on and, you know, waiting 4 or 5 hours, just sitting there, and because they could afford it, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
always had me there, 20 minutes on set, like, just so respectful, like, just the most tip top team I have ever worked with, and Viola Davis is a dream. But that's sort of as a fan and as a business. But as an actor, Goliath, Larry Trilling is he's the executive producer, and he directed most of my episodes. Just one of the greatest human beings alive. So kind, so thoughtful. And so there were 3 episodes. There were 3 episodes where that got cut and they reshot the show, and I was only in those first 3.
Oh.
And my first scene, Billy Bob Thornton is attacking a woman that was running for mayor, Ana de la Reguera, and I'm her manager, and I sort of you know, he's wearing a fancy suit. We're both from Boyle Heights. Like, we're up, but we came from down. You know what I mean? Like, we're tough, right? So he comes in to attack her, and I like put my hand and make eye contact with him, like, can I touch you? And he looks at me like, yeah, get in there. So and I'm sort of like, I mean, you know, it's fake, but it looks like really tussling.
Yes.
My person safe, right? Because I'm from theater. Like, you make conflict for the other actor.
Sure.
Generosity is, you know. And Billy was loving it because he's, you know, he comes from a hard background, similar, and people like us, we like to get dirty. And after it was done, we cut, and Larry comes over and he's like, "What are you doing? Like, you would never do that." And I was like, "Okay." And he was like, "What's that face?" And I was like, "No face, sir, no face." And he was like, "No, I'm curious." And that's what makes him beautiful, is he's curious. If he sees you thinking, he wants to. It's 100% collaborative. He brings no ego to it. Like, just, I wish everybody was like that.
Yeah.
And a face, and he was like, "What is it?" And I was like, I mean, he's not actually Billy Bob Thornton on the show, and he's wearing a $3,000 suit, and I'm from Boyle Heights. I would stop him. But, you know, sir, yes, sir, I'll do anything you want, you know? And he was, let me think about that for a second. And we had a conversation about alpha, which is very interesting to me. I don't know how much time I have. Should I go on?
Oh, yeah. No, you're good. They loving it.
Like, well, I just feel like she's your alpha and you're afraid of her. And I made another face. I'm Puerto Rican. I can't help it. Oh, tell me. And I was like, I'm an alpha, and I would never hire or date or friend a beta. Like, I think all humans are alphas, and it's her job to chew the face off of all the A-level people. And as her number 2, it's my job to chew the face off of everybody else, which means I have to be like a so alpha that I'm fully capable of giving her beta whenever she's in the room and being alpha. I have to be. He was like, "Do that." I don't know what that is, but do that. And I mean, it was like, you know, I didn't grow up with like a typical dad or mom, and it was just like one of those moments where somebody actually saw me and loved it, and I felt so seen and so grateful. And so we did it, and the first 3 episodes didn't work out, and they reshot the show, and they gave me 7 episodes, and they made me fierce.
Oh my God. That is amazing.
I go to bed like 2 nights a week, still grateful for that moment, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that scene, when you walk into the office, the mayor's office, and it was a couple of sentences before you said, "Who are you?" That scene just hit me. And when I saw your interview and I saw, you know, you talk about where you came from, I said you couldn't have gotten a better role.
Yeah. No, they basically wrote it for
that role was written for you.
Yeah.
And when I saw the show, I hadn't known anything about your background. And when I found out about your background, I did my research, and I was like, wow. I mean, you played yourself pretty much. You know, it was so great. But you definitely got lost in that, because I felt you being so hurt that you were fighting for this mayor, and to find out that she's a fraud. And I've had situations like that in my life where, like, you're fighting for something, and you realize that, you know, if you talk, like, that's propaganda, that no one really cares.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you definitely hit me, and that I was like, I gotta watch the rest of this. This is crazy. This is crazy. But yeah, it was awesome. And then you know, when you got your nose clipped off, it's like that was insane.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And what I love about it is that they still let me come back for more, right? Like,
yeah.
I've played so many maids, and they're like, she would be looking at the floor, and I'd be like, you know, a lot of times I can't say it. I do when I can. Like, I risk my career trying to be a voice for people like me, but
sure.
I always want to say, like, I'm a person of color. I've been there. We don't look at the ground. We get destroyed anyways. That's how systemic racism is. Like, we're brilliant. We're making eye contact. We're trying to make moves, even through freaking slavery. I can make that assumption. And
absolutely.
We destroyed anyways. We weren't looking at the ground, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes, but like, if you look at film and television, it's all the time, you know? So to be able to have that moment he heard me, like a white man heard a brown girl, like a white man at the top of the chain heard a brown girl at the bottom of the chain. Like I'm so grateful. And then,
Yeah.
and then even after having my nose broke, she tries 2 more times. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so grateful to represent that, because that's the women I know. Women I
Yeah.
know, you know,
Yeah.
even the
Yeah.
sweet ones, they're trying, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, well, yeah, definitely said and definitely well played. And I loved when I listened to one of your interviews and you was talking about, how when you first started, you were getting some maid roles, and I can't remember. You probably can say it better than it, but you talked about how you don't mind playing a maid role, but you want it to have with depth. So talk about that. I like how you phrase that.
Well, because the problem isn't that we're a maid. The problem is that we're the maid for the person who matters in the scene, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
people had to play maids, and my
Hmm.
people had to be prostitutes. Um,
Hmm.
my people had to work minimum wage,
Hmm.
and my people had to do every single thing on the planet to get
Yeah,
to where they are. So I
yeah,
don't mind any role. Give me wants and needs and desires. Give me conflict. Make me climb. Make me survive. Make me win. And
yeah,
story. But if I'm just a maid who hands someone, like on Mad Men, I was only there to show how upset. Like, they hired a maid. I did, like, I'm gonna get fired for talking about Mad Men, but like, they hired me. I did something not even on scene to piss off the main actress. And then the scene was just me getting fired. Like, they literally just used me as an opportunity to show how upset this woman is in subtext, right? About her life, right?
yeah.
And it's like, fine, we all do that. But as
Sure.
a person of color, you're doing that 97% of the time. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. As a person of color, we should be allowed to have the camera go home with us, you know? And I think
Sure.
we're
Yeah.
going right.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I love the show Hollywood. It kind of talks about a lot about that. And do you think that is changing in Hollywood? You think that's changing in Hollywood?
I think when COVID lets us out, it's going to be an absolutely new world. I
I
don't
think so too.
anything about this movement, and like, I'm fierce in what I post on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I remember several years ago, I remember 15 years ago when people would literally call me racist for the stuff I posted and said, racist against white America, or the man, whatever you want to call it, whatever the term is. And then 10 years ago, it was like, I hear what you're saying, but never publicly, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it was 5 years ago, I had like 30% of friends that were like on board. And now I'm posting some like serious stuff, as we all are. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
worst is contending, and they're not even being as forceful as they used to. It's just like borderline all lives matter stuff,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're getting destroyed by, I don't even have to get involved half the time. It's
Yeah.
like
People going.
people of all colors and levels of activism and levels of socioeconomics are like, no, that's not okay. I don't want to hear that. No, not anymore, not anymore, not anymore. So I think we're reaching a point when we go back into production. I would be surprised. Before this, we were lucky if it was 10 white people to one person of color in the top 10, I would be surprised if we don't go into a scenario where it's 50-50.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And you know what? And definitely applaud and shout out to you for using your platform to be a part of the solution. Because I'm very big on that, and that's something that I dedicate my craft to. One of the things that I love to do is make films that talk about the stuff that we don't want to talk about. And, talk about people that look like me, that look like you, and what we're going through, and to put it in people's faces. Because it's important. It's important. I'm a firm believer of, if you are not part of the of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, and let's talk about it.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding.
Yep, absolutely. So let me go ahead with another question. One piece of advice for actors to succeed in auditioning.
Yes. Well, we all know the like number one, which is listen, but or get to a place with your content that you can listen. Listening is really hard to do. Uh,
Hmm.
You have to hit the mark, notes, and all that.
Yes.
You have your cues and stuff. But if it were personally for me, I would say, be so brave in your real life and have such a point of view in your real life that when you go into a room to audition, it's not the first time you've done it all week, right? I'm an, like, even if I have not gone to a protest in a month, I'm still an activist. Every conversation I have, for me, there's no getting around the fact that we're going to talk about color and we're going to talk about socioeconomic. And if that's not okay with you, probably you're not going to stay my friend for too long, because that's all that matters to me, right?
Yeah.
And from dating to career cohorts, it's all the same for me, right?
Sure.
So I am brave, and I say things a lot that I know may lose me this relationship, whatever kind of relationship it is.
Yeah.
So when I go into an audition and I have to play somebody who does something brave, it's not the first time I've done it in a week or a year or a month, right? I've done it every day. I've checked it every single day. I'm used to the way your armpits feel or your face feels, or emotions feel. I'm used to that risk because I take it every day. So when I have to do it for casting directors, it's kind of almost sometimes a little safer because they can't really hurt me. They can just not call me back, but they will.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
When you do something brave on television, it's interesting because we don't see it that often. And they're looking for unique experiences, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That we need to hear that more and more and more, because so many actors go into the room thinking, what do they want? And I'm one of those. I talk to my agent all the time, and I tell her I'm a risk taker. I don't know if I'm going to be thrown out of a room, but one thing's for sure, they're going to remember me, right? And the same thing like you. I've come from a rough past, so it's like you can't scare me. It is what it is. I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to just play, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, there's another job somewhere else. So yeah, I love that. I love that.
It's true. And a follow-up is when you can learn to not be scared out a chip on your shoulder, because that's hard.
Yeah.
The decade of not being scared, there's a little bit of a chip on your shoulder because it's just hard. But when you can learn to not be scared gently, people are they think they want you to be scared of them. I don't know what people think, but it feels that way. But when you're not, it feels like something inside them relax and they're grateful to be seen.
Absolutely. And you know what? And we're all human beings. We love confidence. We love someone coming in and like you being on set and you decide that you want to make a choice and you're doing something that they know a lot of other actors are scared and terrified to do. So now I'm looking at you like, now you become very interesting.
Yeah.
And we can tell, confidence and risk taking versus pompous and conceited or arrogant. We can tell the difference. We can tell the difference. Yeah.
Fine line.
Okay, so one actor said, when you are about to be cast for something, what are you focused on most?
When I'm about to be cast? What does that mean?
I guess after you've booked the role.
I booked the role, so I'm going in to shoot. I'm going in to shoot. Well, generally, from the minute I wake up, if I'm going to shoot or audition that day, I am that person. I mean, I'm not like method to the point where like if my daughter asks me for something, I'm in the character. But if I'm to shoot and I am playing a nurse, I am thinking about my life as a nurse. And when I show up to set, I am thinking about what a nurse would think about when she's getting out of her car and walking in. Like I'm building that world. And I try to keep building it all day long. But I guess if I have, you usually don't have the entire, like you're in a recurring role, you don't have the entirety of the arc yet because you're getting episodes weekly or monthly or whatever it is. Try to think about, okay, because I'm an activist, the idea of a want is very valuable to me, right? So I'm thinking about what about this character makes me I want to change the world. Toni Torres wants to change the world in any possible way. So what, if I'm playing Elena, what about her world does she want to change so much that I can relate to, that it's going to open up my emotions completely, right?
Mm-hmm.
Problem with playing a character is like the first time you read it, you're only like, you only have access to like 10% of yourself for whatever reason. And the more you read it and the more you imagine, more of yourself opens up. So I try to find what I would be an activist for in their life and jump into that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
I operate with each character the way I would, coming from the place of what matters to that person more than anything, right?
Yeah, yeah, I like that. And
So
for you actors that are listening, I wanna digress back on something that you said about the more you read something, the more that it opens up, the more that you open up about the character. I think that's essential. You know, reading, and seeing different things opens up, you know, words that you didn't gravitate on before. Now you're seeing it. Oh, the bigger picture. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
and
great.
that person's mom or that person's dad or that person's sibling, or you know, if they have a lot of health issues, you start to feel the miscarriages or whatever, and then
Mm.
um you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
you can't act that on, you can't act that in front of the camera the way you can if you just remember it, right?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. That's a good thing. So let's talk about, I know we're in this pandemic. Did you have any projects that you're working on? Like what's next for you? And is there anything in the makings that you've shot already that we can look forward to seeing?
No, I have a commercial running, so I'm okay
Mm.
for COVID.
Oh, okay, okay. What commercial is it?
It's Rinvoq. It's an arthritis commercial. I'm old enough for that now.
Okay. Cool. Okay. All right. All right.
But I have a pilot that I wrote. I just finished the WGA veteran writing program. But
Okay.
the pilot that I wrote, it's a religious sex comedy.
Okay.
And I have a feature that I wrote called Milagro. It's basically Amelie meets Beast of the Southern Wild. And I've been spending the pandemic shopping that around, like making the moves I need to get that read. And
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome. I love it. I have a saying that I always feel that actors should do what I call like the 360, that step into writing, step into you know, directing, but do it full circle and then come back. And when you come back richer, you know.
yeah,
So it's great to hear that you're writing and you're going to the steps of shopping it around. That's awesome. It's amazing.
yeah, it's amazing.
Yes, I will definitely be there to support you. I love your page. I see that you're very big. You're an activist, and that's very good using your platform. I'm the same exact way. I do mine do movies and do independent films. So I definitely applaud you on that, and definitely to keep that up. So before I let you go, you kind of already answered this question, but I was going to ask you, how do you use your upbringing to put into your craft? And you know, is there anything else that you pull from to put into your work?
I just feel like everything, like the game we're in is about stakes, right?
Yeah,
And when you grow up with absolutely nothing, it's all stakes. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I had a hard time going to acting classes because you would have specific kinds of people need 7 months to learn how to cry. And it was
yeah,
just, I can't, I'm too poor. I'm a single mother.
yeah,
I'm too poor to wait 7 months for someone to
yeah.
learn how to cry. Like,
Right, it's all here.
yeah, like I've just been through it all. Like
Yeah,
there's almost nothing that they could give me that I'm like, I don't understand how a person could feel this way, you know?
yeah,
Um, and I just never have shame for that. I always
yeah.
see it as, you got a wealthy parent, or you got a connected parent, or you got a parent who worked in the education industry, so you're very well educated and apt. And I got every life experience on the planet. And
Boom.
that's what I got. I'm not going to feel shame about it. And when people do socioeconomically microaggression me, I just remember that they don't know how much I got. They don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Right.
like they know it and they're trying to limit it. They just don't know. And they're
No,
not,
right.
their opinion is not my business.
Yeah.
And then I keep thinking everything I went through was important, and
Mm-hmm.
everything that I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, with all that, you are a stand-up comic comedian,
Yes.
which is really cool. So how often do you get to work on that?
You know, I haven't been doing it recently. I should probably update my IMDb, but they don't like to change things, so it's hard. But I did it for a few years, and then I thought, I'm going to write scripts and I'm going to put these jokes into scripts. So that's what I
Mm-hmm.
did. So I haven't gotten on stage in a while. I hope to once COVID lets us back out. But
Yeah.
I do think that there were, as a, you know, here I go again, as a woman of color, there were ways that I felt I was allowed to be big and ways that I felt small, that I didn't know how to break through or even recognize. And doing stand-up comedy unlocked all of that. Like
Yeah.
was uh, it was essential in me actually figuring out all of the pieces of my personality. And
Mm-hmm.
that I take with me every audition, every writing project, every relationship, every conversation. So I just think that whether you excel or fail, everyone should go and do a what is it called when you walk open?
Like open mic, yeah, open mic, yeah. And what I'm getting from that is I talk to my siblings about this, is about being comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, and I sometimes tell a lot of actors that I've learned that acting for me is being emotionally naked and being okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
right there. That's the
yeah,
future. I think we're all a little bit magic,
yeah,
and we have to get naked to find out how, you know?
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Well, I've kept you longer than I anticipated to, and I appreciate it. For kicks and giggles, I had one of my viewers say, "What was it like working with Billy Bob Thornton?" So they want to know.
Uh, just like I'm telling you, Goliath was the best time of my life. He's so great. He grew up rough. He's not, at one point he was like, if I still drank, we'd be doing shots right now. You're so, that's what he said to me, or something similar. And he was just open and available and thoughtful and like, naked, like you were saying, emotionally. And we got along really well. We shared our life stories. He asked me if I had written it. I said yes. He hooked me up with some producers who helped me get my script to a really great condition. Like,
Wow.
I couldn't say enough good things about him.
Yeah, yeah.
Homeschooling his child, who I believe has autism. Like, he's just a really dope guy. You know, I wish I lived close. We were better friends.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Living through you vicariously. So, but yeah, again, what an amazing story. What an amazing journey that you had. I'm definitely rooting for you and everything that you do. I'll be watching and more stuff to come. Very, very proud of your success and also you being an activist. Keep that going strong. And I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you so much for answering those questions, for sharing.
Absolutely.
Tons of nuggets, tons and tons of nuggets. I love hearing your experience and especially about just use like being a risk taker and knowing who you are and letting everything else not matter
Yeah.
about just, yeah, I really love that. Absolutely. So hey, so everybody that's on here, if you're not, making sure go ahead and shout your Instagram name out again.
La Toni Torres.
Last
LA
one.
Torres. I just want to
Yeah,
say it was such a pleasure to meet you. You are such an emotionally available person, a great,
thank
and
you.
I'm so grateful for your fans for listening to my story.
Thank you so much. That goes to my heart and not my head. Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, take care. Thank you so much. And hopefully, maybe somewhere down the line, I'll get to interview you again about all the other stuff that you've done.
Absolutely. You know where I'm at.
All right. Toni, take care so much. All right. Blessings.
Bye-bye. Blessings.
All right. All right. All right, gang. Again, special thanks to Toni for giving me her time. She stayed over the time limit. And thank you all for always tuning in. every Wednesday or Wednesday. We take no losses because it's Wednesday. But tune in. Yeah, you're very welcome. And thank you for joining, for taking your time. And I'm doing what I love to do, give back and connect actors with the industry, because that's what's important. You've heard it from her first of how important it is to just be you. And if you do have a platform, you're very welcome. If you have a platform, use your platform to do the right thing, because if you're not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem, right? That's what I firmly believe in. So without further ado, I will see you here next Wednesday, 7:30 IG Live. Tell a friend. If you're not following me, make sure that you follow me, and make sure you follow Toni Torres as well. She's an awesome person, not only a great actress, but an awesome person, an awesome human being. Sometimes you don't get the best of both worlds. All right. Peace and blessings to everybody. Keep doing what you do, and I'll see you next week, 7:30 IG Live.